Hey, Good Success community, Josh Culler here, host of the Good Success podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. But before we get into this awesome episode of the Good Success podcast, we'd like to take a quick minute and thank our sponsors. And first is Sharper Business Solutions and our good friend Gary Harper. And listen, your business is a personal endeavor that you have poured your blood, sweat, and tears into. Sharper Business Solutions is a full service solution to help you scale your dream. Sharper Business Solutions implements the Sharper process and other key systems, giving you the confidence and freedom to keep growing and scaling as a company. The Sharper team wants to come alongside you and provide the resources needed for long-term growth and success. Schedule your free consultation today at sharperprocess.com. And let me tell you, these guys are amazing. A lot of our mastermind members have hired Gary and the Sharper team to come and implement EOS and processes and systems into their business, and their scaling is very, very much apparent, and they've grown exponentially. So make sure you guys check them out one more time. That's sharperprocess.com. And we'd like to say a quick thank you to Veterans Path Up and our good friend Ken Lacey. And Veterans Path Up's mission is to provide affordable, stable housing to veterans and veteran families through the use of shared living, single-family residences, and ultimately a path to home ownership. Their emphasis is to provide housing for homeless, working, and disabled veterans, many of whom do not qualify for long-term support from any government agency. Veterans Path Up ascribes to the philosophy of helping those with a hand up as opposed to a hand out. Veterans Path Up provides a critical link to the veteran by bridging the gap to other supportive veteran services. This is accomplished through education and awareness to available support, with the ultimate goal of getting the veteran and family on a path to self-sufficiency. Through the use of private and philanthropic funding, Veterans Path Up acquires, rehabs, and places veterans into the appropriate housing for where they are with respect to their current financial picture. Improving neighborhood housing and showing veterans a path up strengthens the community and strengthens the country while helping those who have protected our freedom. You can visit veteranspathup.org to make a donation or find out how you can help impact our veterans even further. So without further ado, let's take a quick sneak peek of what you'll hear on this episode of the Good Success podcast.
Be ready to walk away from any deal. There's no deal out there that you need to be desperate for. Then that puts you in a very bad spot. So always come up very confident, and you're in a position of power. That means you can walk away anytime.
Welcome back to the Good Success podcast. I'm your host, Josh Culler. Got Tom Olson, president of Good Success, sitting right next to me. And we have an awesome guest on the show, a returning guest from episode 103, Mr. John Morey out of Huntsville, Alabama. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, man, everything's good. I know I had to pay you guys to get me back on, so that's okay.
Dude, he's paying us?
We made some good money on him. Yeah.
Dude, I think that's a good idea, Josh. We should start making people pay to be on the podcast.
We made some good money on John asking to be on the show, so yeah.
So John's paying to be on the podcast, right?
Right.
Yes.
I heard him say it.
Right.
Yep, don't worry.
We charge
I'll send you an invoice.
Awesome. So I'm excited to have John on. I know that Tom and I both are really, really close friends with John. He's an awesome human being. He's been to our Mastermind, been to our Community Go-Giver event, so our very first Community Go-Giver event we had. And John actually stayed at my house for that, so that was a lot of fun.
Sorry, John.
That was back when I was single. And
yeah, but believe me, it was pain. It was pain.
Oh, man. I bet.
I made him feel like he's at home. Gave him a nice bed and everything, so he's good to go. I think I even made breakfast for you.
Oh wow!
Yes,
Josh, I'll stay at your house if you make me breakfast.
That was a treat.
Awesome. Well, cool. I'm looking forward to this and having John on the show. So, like I said, he is out of Huntsville, Alabama, so way down south. Further. Are you taking the mic from me?
You keep moving it closer to you, Josh.
I need to keep it in the middle, so because we're on one mic now, so that people can see our face.
Yeah, because everybody wants to see our beautiful
exactly
faces.
Right. Yeah, that's right. So we got podcasting faces.
Josh, we might need to start doing makeup.
Yeah, you got a contour artist.
Especially you, Josh.
Especially me,
Oh, boy.
because of my skin complexion. Awesome. So we're excited.
Probably should get some makeup for him too.
John's good. No, John's
no
good.
makeup will help.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not gonna help, bro.
Awesome. So this is going to be an exciting show, if you guys could tell. Love John, and so excited to have him on the show. We're going to talk a lot about wholesaling today.
Mr.
Which is
Salsa Dancer Wholesaler.
Yeah, salsa
right.
dancing
That's
wholesaler. That's what he does. So, but before we get into it, if you guys haven't already, make sure you have subscribed to the Good Success Podcast, or just download the mobile app. So you got it backwards. You turn it around. Oh, you're going to show them that. Okay, now there we go. There it is. Okay, cool. So you could download the app, so either the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store for Android. Just go to either one of those app stores, search Good Success, and you'll find this logo right there, and it'll be up front and center and be bold.
I bet you John's already got it downloaded.
John's probably already got it downloaded. I don't even have to ask him that, so it's good to go. But all you got to
stars.
do is download it, and then you can listen to the podcast on there. It's 10 times easier than just going to a platform. But if you are on Apple Podcasts, still go back to the podcast channel and then leave us a 5-star review. That would be much appreciated, because that does help out. And then the Good Success Mastermind, goodsuccess.com/mastermind. The next event is coming in hot, May 14 through 18 in Miami, Florida. We're excited about it. It's going to be an awesome event. So Tom, let us in on a little bit of what's going down.
You know, I talked to a guy yesterday, and I had to not let him come in the Mastermind. It just didn't seem like a good fit, and you know, more and more I'm kind of running into that more and more, where people they're not really looking for what we have. They're looking for you know, something a little bit different. They're looking for the Rolls Royce. They're looking for that, and that's just not what Good Success is all about. So our community is I have a very big fence. I believe in walls.
A wall.
I have built a wall. I built the wall already around it, and we only let certain people come into our community, and I'm very protective of our community. We do have 7 or 8 people, you know, new people coming to this next event, so I'm super excited about that. I'm still trying to get about 2 more to come to this next event. But so if you are an elite entrepreneur, Christian businessman, and you're looking for a place that you can go to help figure out how to solve your biggest issues, if we could help you solve your biggest issues in your business, and then you could, you know, we talked about this yesterday in the podcast, but if you could help create your own inner circle, your own top 5 or top 10 people that you can kind of go to for any different issue in your life, I would highly recommend finding a place like the Good Success Mastermind that you can go and bounce off ideas and get great advice. And not just, you know, like me and John even talk sometimes, and you know, we'll do some deals back together. And sometimes, like, it's not really any of my business, but I kind of give John advice. I'm just like, dude, I'm not telling you this just for me. I'm telling you this about for you. When you go out and do deals with other people, like, make sure that you have, you know, certain things. And I'm only telling John because I want to help him, and I really want, you know, to be able to for him to be successful.
That is very true. And see, Tom is he's a giver. And boy, he loves me. That's why I love him.
I do love John. He's awesome. I love me some John. I like some salsa dancing.
Some salsa dancing, John.
Don't worry. I'm seeing you in June for sure. So.
Yep. You got it. Yes. Can't wait. So anyways, if you would like to be invited to the Good Success Mastermind, and get in that inner circle or help create your top 5, I highly recommend Good Success Is it goodsuccess.com?
Yeah, goodsuccess.com/mastermind.
Or you can just go to goodsuccess.com and you can find us there.
Yeah, and then you'll fill out an application. So make sure you fill that application out, and then you'll get on a phone call with Tom, because like you mentioned, we do guard that culture very much. If you've been to the Mastermind, John's been there. He knows what kind of people are in there, and just fantastic group of people, all go-givers, and just that essence of Good Success and what it's all about. So we protect that very much, and that's why you got to fill out the application, because we want to make sure that's a good fit for you and you're a good fit for us, and so it's vice versa. So goodsuccess.com/mastermind to learn more about it. And then the Community Go-Giver event, we mentioned that John was at our very first one last summer, and then he mentioned that he'll be seeing us in June. So June 26, 27, 28 is that next event. CommunityGoGiver.com is where you can pick your tickets up. And Tom, I think you gave the secret out yesterday. Do you want to do it again? You can do it again if you want. You can do it again if you want, but John's going to purchase tickets.
I'm going to give a different secret.
He's already got his ticket.
We are going to, John already has his ticket.
He already has it.
Yeah, so we are going to be sending out some promos. So this is what I'm going to tell you to do. The secret today is to go to the Good Success Facebook page, the Good Success LinkedIn page if you're on LinkedIn. Check us out on YouTube. We are really trying to boost that YouTube channel and like or subscribe to the Good Success YouTube channel. And you can find us on Instagram as well. So we're going to be sending out a lot of promos coming out. And if you're on our email list, you'll be getting some emails for the Good Success Community Go Giver. We actually had a meeting yesterday with some of the people that are going to kind of help. We got some bags and some really nice gifts that we're going to give away to the attendees. So we're actually excited about that as well. So if you are looking for a community that uses real estate to positively impact their community, then I would highly recommend the Community Go Giver event. Or if you're an investor looking for amazing returns with people that have a good purpose and a good reason why they're doing what they're doing, I highly recommend the Community Go Giver event. So either whether you're wanting to help us flip the city of Gary, or whether you're like John and you want to go back to Huntsville, Alabama and help that community, I think the Community Go Giver event is perfect for you. And actually, since we got John on, why don't we just ask John a little bit about how last year's event was and if he would recommend it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, I love it, and that's why I make sure my schedule this year that's available, because I travel a lot for my education, and even my wife has warned me, you better be careful with your travel. Well, I had to make sure that this one, I said, honey, can I go? She says, sure. So guess what? I'm coming back.
We got the approval.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I had to ask permission. So my wife said, yeah, it's good. And the Go Giver event, man, is amazing. I recommend it to everybody. You're going to see people that have big hearts, like Eddie Wilson. That man has a huge heart. So guess what, folks, if I were you, you need to attend this event in June.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate that, definitely. So communitygogiver.com is where you can pick that up. And like Tom said, make sure you follow us on all our social accounts, because we'll be shooting out some promos pretty soon to get you guys a little bit of a discount for that event. But
so communitygogiver.com.
But we are selling out at 80 seats, so make sure that you go get your tickets now, because that is happening in our office. Fire Marshal says that we can't take any more people than 80, so make sure you take advantage of it. One more time, communitygogiver.com. All right, so for today, we've got John Morey on the show. I'm excited to jump on into this podcast here and get some wholesaling stuff out of him, some wholesaling information out of his head and into your guys' head. So John, do us a favor for the people that don't know who you are. Introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing that.
Okay, I am John Morey, and I actually live in Athens, Alabama, but it is in the Huntsville metropolitan area. What I do is I buy a lot of properties that are for the low-income arena, just like Walter Walford does. And I want to give people opportunity to live in a home using seller financing strategies. And it's really wonderful, because we do have a lot of people that cannot afford the $150,000, $200,000, $300,000 type homes. So mine is in the lower end, just like Walter Walford, and we've helped really quite a few people in that arena.
Yeah, absolutely. So give us a little bit of your background of how you got into the real estate business.
Oh, well, I've been dabbling for a little bit back then, just a little dabble. But then May 13, 2016, I was fired. So guess what?
You're fired.
I was fired. Well, now my back's to the wall. What do? Well, you don't cry. You get up and go. You just start doing it. So ever since then, it's been wonderful. I've been traveling a lot, meet people like Tom and you and Walter and Jim Ingersoll, those people. And that's now my group right there. These are the people that are willing to help you succeed. So, I tell people a lot of my story about that. Involve yourself with people that are willing to help you succeed, because the rule of thumb is you give and you get back, but you don't expect to get back. You just give, and before you know it, it's coming back like crazy. And that's what's happening in my business right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember this story, John. And when you got fired, you went and talked to Jim Ingersoll, right?
Yes.
And what did Jim tell you about getting fired?
Oh, I tell this story all the time. Here's what he said. John, that's the best thing that's ever happened to you. That's it.
So there you go. There you go, Josh. I could just see it right now. Getting fired is the best thing that's ever happened to you.
Right, exactly.
That can be our shows.
It's amazing. And then after that, I said, man, you're right. So when I got home, because I was actually on my way home, first I called my wife, and she was hysterical, of course. And then I talked to Jim second. Oh yeah. I said, oh my God, what are we doing? So then after that, I made, I think, 5 offers that day, but I didn't get any of it. But I went into action. And that's a lot of things that people, I want to do this, I want to do that. But what do? Nothing. You have to be a person of action, and you'll be surprised the results that you're going to get.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I want to commend John for definitely is that he talked about action right here, but like it's very true, because a lot of you might be listening to this podcast. Maybe you've been listening to it the entire time we've had the podcast up and you haven't done anything. Please stop listening to podcasts and just go do something. Like,
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
They need to do something and then come back and listen. So I think
don't stop listening to the podcast,
listen,
but do something.
Yeah. So one thing, but the one thing I want to commend John for is that he does go, and he even said it, he does travel a lot for his education, but he actually does what he's being taught, as long as, you know, it's something that fits his criteria and what he's going to do in his business. But I think that's the key thing here, is making sure that, yes, you're going to be learning a lot and you know, maybe you're absorbing a lot of information, going to events, but do something about it. Actually take action on it. I think I love the fact that John does that and he's willing to do it. So
I mean, we should all be, you know, we should always be learning.
Yeah.
Right. So like, we're not saying don't do the learning, but like, what does it profit you if you learn everything, but then you never do anything with it, you know? And it's funny because a lot of these big conferences that you have to spend tons and tons of money on, they actually know, and they actually put it into their own numbers. They know only 3% of people are going to do anything. So you might spend $50,000, $60,000 on some education course, and they know only 3% of that. If 100 people show up, only 3 people are actually ever going to do anything. So they basically know that they're always going to have a job and always going to have, you know, people that they can go after to sell something to. But at the end of the day, like, it's so much more important to figure out what your purpose is in life. All those things we talk about in Good Success. What's your purpose? Yep. What are your roles and responsibilities? How are you getting encouraged every day? And who are you encouraging? How much are you being grateful and thankful for everything that you've had done in life? And then how are you growing every day? How are you being passionate about growth and making those daily decisions and taking action every day to create that momentum to be successful?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And as Tony Robbins says, knowledge without action or knowledge without execution is poverty, right? So you gotta take action. So
I have a little twist. Mine says, you know, that they say that knowledge is power. Well, that's only one portion. Knowledge is just like a hammer. You have a hammer, but it's just sitting there. What do you do with that hammer? It's useless, right? So knowledge plus knowledge plus action is power. That's what I say. And so if you have this hammer, then you use it, now you got power, because now you're using the tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how you so you talked a little bit about how you got into wholesaling, and I know on the podcast we had you on episode 103, you went a little deeper into the story. So if you guys want to hear more about it, go back to episode 103 and listen to that. But why is wholesaling a good start for somebody to get into the real estate game? I know a lot of people talk about they want to add rentals to the portfolio. So some people are more passive than others, so they don't want to actively, you know, wholesale or fix and flips. They just want to buy turnkeys. They just want to put, you know, rentals in their portfolio. But for somebody that's an active investor, why is wholesaling like a good start for getting into the game?
Okay, that's actually a very good question. Majority of people, they really don't have any money. Let's just face it. Tom knows this. He's been around. He knows a lot of people, but most people in this business start off with zero. So what's a good way? So if you are very limited in your funds, get into the wholesaling, not the bird dog. The bird dog is the lowest form, but then you go one step up, wholesaling, because in wholesaling, you learn so much. You learn how to negotiate. You start learning about contracts. You start learning more about the repairs and all these things. So you're actually in the start of becoming an investor, but you're doing all the work in the beginning. So you're learning all these small little things that you have to do as an investor. Then once you get into that point, then now you can see, okay, what does an investor, what is he looking for? What is she looking for? So that I can wholesale this thing. So there's really a lot of stuff that can happen as a wholesaler. You become really good. I have a couple of trainees right now. They don't want to be wholesalers anymore because they understand now the process, and they've only been doing it 6 months. And then they see what me as an investor, what I'm doing. They go, I can do that. And I go, yeah, because now they understand the ins and outs. Of course, as a negotiator, that's a different ball game, right? But when you start in wholesaling, you get a taste of how to become a negotiator. And you become better and better. Then when you become a very good negotiator, then now you step into, okay, where do I get the money? You know, it just goes into now all these different paths, but you do start as a wholesaler, you learn so much more doing that way instead of just jumping into a rehab. which is work to begin with.
So as a seasoned investor, do you recommend somebody to continue to wholesale? So maybe they're gotten into fix and flipping or some other form of active real estate investing. Like, do you recommend continuing to wholesale as long as the deals work for that?
Well, that's really more on a personal level. You know, some people are very good in wholesaling. That's all they want to do. And they have teams. Actually, they're teaching people. They have a business as a wholesaling business. And that's okay. That's okay. Well, see, I'm not a wholesaler. I don't want to be. I've already done that. I want to be an investor. I want the money working for me, because wholesaling is actually active. That's active income. So you have to go out there, start digging, keep on digging away, and have a team and keep digging away. And you make it a business and stand back and let other people do the work for you. But eventually, you're going to have to decide on your own, okay, now, do I want to keep doing this, make it active, or now do I want passive? Well, I like the dark side. I like the passive side.
Gotcha. So along the same lines with wholesaling, give us a few tips that maybe things to do, not to do. So somebody that's listening that might be just getting into wholesaling, or even they've been thinking about wholesaling because maybe they need a little bit more cash infusion or something. Give some tips that you teach. I know that you mentor people, and we'll get into that in a little bit on wholesaling. So maybe things to stay away from, look out for, or things that, aren't really known in wholesaling.
Yeah, the big thing first really is join your local RIA. Jump in, meet some of the players that are there, do that. Then second, go out there and know your neighborhood. Understand where do you want to be. For example, we have a place here called Madison. Madison is not really a good place to do wholesaling because it is actually a newer city, newer homes. It's kind of hard to find that, but they're there, but it's hard. But when you go to the older parts of Huntsville, or Decatur, Athens, Coleman, those areas like there, well, you could find a lot of wholesale deals in those areas. So once you understand your market, then it's easy for you to jump in and say, okay, here's what it is. Then, of course, one of the key things here is know your numbers. We have an epidemic right now that I get in my inbox, deals that I'm like, wow, leads. They're not deals, they're leads, that people think it's a good deal. When you put the numbers together, they're wrong. Completely wrong, so understand the formula. It's out there. They call it sometimes the 70% rule. There's many various forms of that. Sometimes people use 65% as opposed to 70% rule. So, but there is a formula out there, and if you want to know that about me later on, I can give that to them, no big deal. But once you understand your numbers, that's amazing. Now, in all the numbers though, buying it right. Tom says this many times, other investors say this all the time. You have to buy right. The formula only works very well if you buy it right. If you buy it incorrectly and you're jumping into now the margin of where the investor needs to make some money, it's not going to sell. I always tell this when I teach. If you can't sell your property that you have or the contract that you have in 1 week, there's something wrong. You better dig deep and look where's the mistake. My wholesalers, they sell their properties within a week, sometimes within 5 minutes.
Hey guys, we're going to take a quick break from the podcast and say a huge thank you to our sponsor, Jerry Padilla, a senior loan originator with Prime Lending. And whether you're a first-time home buyer or you're well-versed in the process, buying or refinancing a home can be an exciting and rewarding experience with Prime Lending. Serving you in every state, they take the time to listen and they'll work with you to find a home loan that fits your needs. With the mortgage refinancing, lower your interest rate, lower your monthly payments, shorten your term, or get the cash for whatever you need. Prime Lending also has several options for renovation loans so that you can find what works best for you in your home project. Make sure to contact our good friend and Good Success Mastermind member, Jerry Padilla, who is a senior loan originator with Prime Lending and has over 11 years of experience in the mortgage industry. You can learn more about Prime Lending and what they have to offer by contacting Jerry Padilla at goodsuccess.com/prime lending. So make sure you take advantage of that to learn more about them. Now, without further ado, let's get back to the show. Interesting. So I think,
but in order for that to happen, so something that you didn't mention that I think every wholesaler, if you're going to be a wholesaler, I think the very first step, and you said join a RIA, so that you could probably find these people at your RIA, but what you have to do is find buyers, find real active buyers, right. People are going to buy 10 to 15 or 20 or 50 properties that year. So find out who those big fish are in your market, find out who those buyers are. and then basically go fill orders for them. Go sit down with them, take them to coffee, and say, hey, if I bring you a house that fits all your numbers, would you buy it from me? Yes. Okay. So everyone would. I would. If somebody brings me a house, I'm going to buy 100 out of 100 deals if it fits my numbers, if it fits my criteria. So find those people and say, hey, I'll go out and acquire. Basically, you're their acquisitions for them. You have to think of that. You are their acquisitions department.
Yep.
And you're going to go out and you're going to find deals that let's just use the 70% rule to make it easy for numbers' sake. You're going to find houses that if it's worth $100,000 all fixed up, which that goes back to parting, knowing your numbers right.
Right.
So you have to go to the MLS and find sold comps and find those houses that are very similar to your houses. And if those houses are selling for $100,000, then that's what your ARV is, or after repaired value is. Now, what that investor wants to be into that house, purchase plus repairs, is $70,000 if he's using that 70% rule. So that means if it needs $30,000 in repairs, how much is that investor going to want to buy for? $40,000, right, John?
Well, yeah. So maybe less.
Or maybe less if they want to make. Yeah, I mean, maybe
that's
even
me.
less.
I want it less.
So, but you need it for less. Why do you need it for less? Because if you're going to wholesale, you want to make some money, right, John?
You bet.
So if you're going to sell for 40, then you, the wholesaler, have to go out and get it under contract for, say, 35 or whatever the case is. So that gives you that $5,000 spread to be able to bake. Now, the other number that you need to know is that repair number. So then I highly recommend getting with contractors and getting with people that have done lots of rehabs that can kind of give you that real roundabout number. Because the other epidemic that we see is we get houses that get sent out. It's a cream puff. It only needs $10,000 worth of repairs. And I'm just like scratching my head. Okay, so basically what you're saying is it needs carpet and paint, and that's it, and appliances, because that's at least $10,000 on almost every one of the houses that we do.
Yeah.
So normally if it's $10,000 rehab, it's not true. It's not a true number. Even a $20,000 rehab most of the time isn't true, isn't
exactly
a real number.
Right. And that's actually what I get a lot. I just need to go into the buyer side. But yeah, that is actually a key element. If you need to have a strong buy, you don't need 20 buyers per se. You need 5 or 6 or even less, as long as they're very active and they do buy. That's what you need, because I'm a buyer in my town, so my wholesalers, as long as the numbers are good, it doesn't take much. It takes 5-10 minutes, and I make a decision right there and then. And then when it comes to the repair cost, definitely that is one of the weak spots of most wholesalers. For this reason, they're guessing. They do not get themselves educated by asking a local contractor, pay him $100, $150. Hey, can you guide me on this? What's going on right here? That $150 that they're going to pay to a contractor just to walk them through. Boy, that's going to be worth a lot of money later on. That's a cheap investment.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing, that actually went into my next question, was the buyers list kind of topic. So let's talk about that a little bit deeper, because I know that you are very much focused on this. So for somebody that might be a wholesaler, but this also works for turnkey providers as well, obviously.
Yeah.
Why is it important to have such a strong buyers list? I know you guys talked about it a little bit, but go deeper into it. And where do you actually find these buyers that you can add to your buyers list, where you send it out? You've mentioned you send out a wholesale deal in an email and it's gone in 5 minutes. That's real. So
well, the thing is, that's why I said, man, go to a RIA, because you need to introduce yourself. Mm-hmm. You go there, introduce yourself that, hey, I'm new to this business, and just start talking to people. Then you're gonna go this several times. You're gonna figure out who are the active buyers, because some of these RIAs, they're gonna say, well, who's a lender, or who's buying? They ask these questions and the hands goes up. Take notes. Okay, I need to talk to that person. Introduce yourself. Bring some business cards. Hey, I'm new to this business. Then once you've built that relationship, that's a big word right there, relationship. That's extremely important in this business. Like Tom said, take them out to coffee. Go have dinner. Have a chit chat. Just normal chit chat. Ask them what they want. And then she'll show them where you are, where you want to go, where do they want to go, mostly where they want to go, where do they want to buy. Once you understand their criteria, then now you at least have some kind of target. I'm going to go after properties like this because now I have an active buyer right here. And yes, do ask the right questions. How many properties does this person buy? How fast can they close? Where do they get their money? Just kind of those things, but nonchalant, not like you're interrogating. It's not like an FBI interrogation moment here. Just a nonchalant conversation. And then once you find the right buyer, you don't even have to advertise your property on Craigslist. I see this all the time. They advertise on Craigslist. It's not working. Why? Because they don't have a buyer. My wholesalers do not advertise on Craigslist or anywhere. They just talk to me, and it's done. You know, and you as a beginner wholesaler, that's what you need. You need a good 1 or 2 or 3 buyers that are actively buying, and you don't have to go anywhere.
I love that. And I love that you said relationship. I didn't even hear the word network come out of your mouth. I know that the term is your network is your net worth, and that's so true. But the further step is building that relationship, taking them out to coffee and really taking care of them and building the trust with them. Because when you do that, then you get the scenario that you could send an email out and sell the property right then and there, as long as the deal works, obviously. Yeah. So I love that. That's awesome. So let's kind of switch tracks here and go into kind of like what you're doing in your community. I know every time I talk to you, you're talking about a new big project that you're working on in your community and everything. I think it's awesome. And so I know that you're in Huntsville, Decatur, and those areas too. So I know that you had started a little bit of a, not really I don't know, maybe you call it a meetup group or whatever, but I guess what's your favorite strategy when it comes to building a community? And your community might even be your buyers list. And the people you're mentoring, like what's some of your best strategies when it comes down to that?
Well, I think for me, you know, I've been to a lot of meetups, I've been to a lot of events and everything. And I said, you know, why are these things working and why are they not? The biggest thing that people love, how I do mine, is it's really more like a party. You know, we do have the education section.
Are you doing salsa dancing?
Well, no, I don't want to torture them. I don't want to do that. So mostly it's, you know, that we have an hour of networking. You know, people show up at 6. We have a networking event, eating and all that. And then at 7 to 8, now we have the people that are there to learn. And then right after that, it's networking again. And that's where a lot of the deals are getting made right there. The new people are meeting the more experienced people, and it's wonderful. And this last one that we had last Tuesday, we didn't go home till 10:30. But we start at 6.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's crazy. And what they like about it too is, I know some meetups out there, they do charge, and you know, hey, that's what they want to do. That's fine. Mine, I like it to be free because I want people to come in and just have a good time. You know, that's just me. You know, I'm not like everybody else, but I like to give good information, free information, and I'm trying to build relationships with a lot of people. That's what I'm all about. So, and it's a potluck event. And it's great, and people love it. So, you know, that's why they come, because they get to eat and have fun.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that strategy because it seems a little bit more informal, but it makes it a lot more relaxed, and you feel a lot more comfortable talking to people. And so it seems like that. It seems like you had a lot of people come to your last couple events that you've had. So
yeah, we've been very fortunate that the word's getting out, and because they know we're just like to have fun, and that's always been my thing. When I did salsa, also, it's all about having fun. We don't charge a whole lot. So same thing with this one. I just want to have fun, and guess what? It's flowing, and the word's getting out there that John's Meetup is nothing but a fun event to go to, and it's very loose. We don't have a time constraint. Other people from 6 to 8, then after 8, time to go. There's no more networking. Not mine. You come early, you could leave as late as you want.
Awesome. So just assuming this, and I'm sure you've skimmed over a little bit, the wholesalers that you buy from come to your meetup?
You bet.
Is that safe to say?
Yes. And you know,
I just want them to hear that again,
yes.
Right? So
the wholesalers, they also attend my meetup, and they are also actually teaching other people. Here's my rule to the people that I'm mentoring. They ask me, John, how much do you want to get paid? I go, coffee. They just give me this stupid look. What? I go, yeah, just take me out to coffee. We're good to go. But then I also have a stipulation. See that I'm helping you. Here's how you pay me back. You help another person. Just keep it moving forward. And that's what they're doing now. They're now mentoring other people. So I'm mentoring them, they're mentoring others. So because we just want this to keep on rolling. And just, you know, there's so much money to be made out there. It's an abundance mindset. I don't believe in controlling. I don't believe in that. I want people to have fun and keep helping other people.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of rolling into that then, the mentoring part of it. Why are you mentoring people? I know a big part of it is because you're just a straight giver. You love people. You got a big heart. Like that's all awesome and fine and dandy. But why mentoring people? Why reaching out to? And I know that you even mentioned, I've had a conversation with you, a couple of the guys that you or mentoring have really taken off and like have done some great things. So why mentoring people? What's the purpose of doing that?
Like this one guy in particular, because he's also a family man. Actually, he's also not helping another family man. Well, we need to have fathers out there that are showing their kids that, hey, I want to support my family, you know, and I want them to see what I'm doing, that I'm taking care of my family and they need help. I want to help them help their family. So it just kind of rolled out. I don't want to get into the mentoring program. I don't want to charge a few $1,000. You know, there's people out there, $3,000 a month, and they're not even accessible. I don't want to do any of that, you know. And what I do just when I mentor people, that's not my main purpose, just to go out there and help them like that. You know, they might be calling me, hey, John, by the way, where are you? Well, I'm over here. Well, I have this property over here. Do you have time to maybe look at it? I said, well, after my appointment, I'll come see you. See, so I just don't stop and then go. No, we work together, and according to my free time and according to their free time, we blend together and then we make it happen. And it's actually so much fun because I'm actually learning from them too, you know, and I tell them, hey, I'm learning from you because sometimes they teach me things that I didn't even think about, and we brainstorm, and it's wonderful. So I'm learning. I'm also benefiting from that, you know, and I love it.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, the quicker you could get into being a team sport, the much better it is. I just actually got out of a meeting where, you know, in some companies, it would be a very hard meeting to kind of go through because there was a lot of miscommunication and things that are coming up. However, like we all left the meeting like almost having fun with it because we were all learning together and we were learning what the other person, you know's perspective was, and, you know, something that people hadn't even thought about. We're like, oh yes, no, duh, we should be doing that. So it's awesome to be able to work with people that you really enjoy working with and to be able to have that camaraderie when you're doing deals together. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, it really is. You know, it's a different feeling. That it's really, if you think about it, it's really a nice loop. I help them, and guess who do you think they're gonna bring the deals to first?
Right, right.
I don't even have to ask for that. I really don't. I really don't want to. But they said, John, don't worry, we're gonna bring the first deal to you because we know that you're gonna buy from us. Look at that. Because you know, I'm teaching them how to buy right, how to do it right, and I want them to make money. And I also teach them not to be greedy. That's actually one of the things that I see nowadays, that many wholesalers are so greedy. You know, they want the bigger piece of the pie without understanding that the investor who's taking the bigger risk, especially on a fix and flip, you have to allow that person to have the biggest piece of the pie. The higher the risk, the more the pie, right? Well, a lot of wholesalers forget that. So they want to make 30, 40,000 bucks, and then they want the investor to make 20. Really?
Yep.
No, it doesn't work that way.
But what ends up happening is they do one deal with that person, and then that person's never going to buy from them again.
If they even do one deal. Savvy investors won't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's awesome. I think everything that you've said in the past couple questions is all relationship built. So definitely, if you guys take anything away from that, is building relationships is one of the key things in this business. So John, one more time, we're going to switch tracks, and then we're going to have to wrap this up. It's been an awesome interview. We appreciate you being on, and it's been such a fun time having you on the show here. But one question I'm curious that I've never even talked to you about this before. We obviously did not ask you this on the previous show that we had you on, but you've been in this real estate business for what, roughly 2.5, 3 years now?
Yep,
3 years?
almost
yeah,
3.
So yeah, there you go. So you've had a little bit of time. You've got a little bit of success going on here, and you've accomplished some great things. So along this journey that you've been on in the real estate investing business, you being off on your own, having your own business and whatnot, what is the number one most important thing that you have learned, whether it's family, whether it's personal, whether it's business, like real estate specific? What's been the most important thing that you have learned along this journey?
Oh, wow. You know, that's a tough question because there's a lot. There's a lot, you know. Here we go. I'm starting to have chills. Trusting God. To me, that's, you know, my journey compared to with salsa. God was not in my life doing then, even though I was successful there. Not like this one. This one, when I'm kind of confused, I just say, hey, God, let me just go forward. And if it's meant to be, guess what? You're gonna bless it. If not, you're gonna steer me away. And my golly, woo, buddy, that's exactly what happens. I go forward, but then God will say, no, not there. You need to go this way. It's actually very subtle, but you really have to pay attention. So trusting God is so huge for me. and it really works. And the funny thing is, the guy that I'm mentoring, actually two of them, they also believe in that, and the people that they're mentoring also believe in that. Isn't that wonderful? So
Yeah,
awesome.
hey, God is amazing. So I just trust him. That's the biggest thing for me. But there's a lot, there's a lot of things that I learned, but because of that, I'm God's blessed me left and right. So I pray every day, keep me humble. Lord, I'm successful now, but keep me humble. I want to stay low. Keep me low. And he does.
I love that.
I love that, because that kind of goes right along with good success and like what is your legacy, and kind of in building that legacy now in that daily growth pattern, the daily disciplines that we do now, and the things that we do on a daily basis, like trusting God with all your heart, lean not under your own understanding, acknowledge God in everything that we do. And I think that if you leave that as a legacy, John, that'd be a legacy that anybody would want to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And
absolutely love
really,
that.
Ooh, it makes my heart so big when I see those guys follow me that way.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's working.
They got it.
Yep, they got it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Much appreciated.
Awesome.
That's incredible. I love that. So maybe along the same lines here. So we're going to wrap this up with our final two questions, but I'm excited to have this. And I don't know, maybe your answer is a little bit different from the previous time we had you on the show. It's been, what, 50, 60 episodes now?
Yeah.
So good success. You know us very well. You know me and Tom. You know the brand. You've been a part of our events, and you know what we're all about. So maybe not the specific group of people, but what good success stands for you. What does good success mean to you? What do you think about when you hear that term, good success?
Yeah, when I hear good success, I always think about the relationships that you guys build with other people to help other people. So, it's like a big family, a family that helps family grow. And that's what you guys do. You help people grow. Whether he's a passive investor or an active investor, it doesn't matter. That spectrum right there, it's all about helping others grow. And that's what you guys are all about.
Love it. Absolutely awesome. So we definitely appreciate that. One thing you got to leave the audience with. So whether it's a book that you read that you enjoy, a piece of advice, a thought, a quote, maybe an experience you've had in your life, if you had to leave the audience with one thing, what would that be?
For me, it's this. Anytime that you're out there negotiating a deal, think about this. Always be in the position of power. And what that means is this. Be ready to walk away from any deal. There's no deal out there that you need to be desperate for. Then that puts you in a very bad spot. So always come up very confident, and you're in a position of power. That means you can walk away anytime.
That's awesome. That's very interesting. Love that. So go into that. Like, why?
Because it's just a simple negotiation. If you read the book, Never Split the Difference, it does say it in there that, when you show that you're desperate, people will sense that, and they're not going to give it to you. So guess what? You walk in nonchalant, even though you're like salivating, you want this deal so bad, do not show it. Just walk in there like, oh, nice piece of property, how much you want for it, that kind of stuff. Just negotiate, but then never show that you're desperate. Always be in that position of power.
I think it's also important that no is okay, and
yes,
like to kind of like let them put their guard down, because like if you're in there so desperate and you think you have to get this deal done, and they think that you have to get this deal done and no's not okay, then like a lot of times we waste a lot of time. We really waste a lot of time going back to that person and going back to that and following up over and over and over again when like it really was no. So you really want to get to no as fast as you possibly can. It's almost like the opposite of what most people think, but get to that no. What is it going to take to get them to say no as fast as possible? And then at least you know.
That's right.
And I think knowledge is where that power really comes from. So having a position of power kind of comes from what is it going to take to get this person to say no? And as soon as you figure that out, then it's just what really what is it going to take get them to say yes? So I think that's where that position of power comes from.
Yeah.
Well, so quick question for both of you then. Do you think it's safe to say that if the deal doesn't work anyway, then they're not going to say no in the first place? So like if there's a deal and they want more for the deal than what you're willing to pay for, is it even worth trying to get the yes in the first place if they're not willing to come down?
Depends on your strategy. See, now we're going to go deep now. We don't have all that time, but there's a strategy how to pay full price but you're also getting your terms. So there's that you give, but they have to give. It can't be one-sided. You know, you give them something, but they have to give you something. So that's negotiations 101 right there.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what kind of a deal it is, whether it's a wholesale deal, it's a lending deal, whether it's a fix and flip. It doesn't matter. There's always different people that sit at the table.
Yes.
And whenever there's one person that wants to take more for them, like you said, like the wholesalers that want $30,000. I mean, gosh, like why is their part worth that much? It's just not.
Yeah.
So think about that. If there's anybody at the table that's trying to take too much, guess what? It ends up ruining it for everybody. Yes. It doesn't just ruin it for one person. It ends up ruining it for everybody. So there has to try to be that even balance of value in the deal. So whatever seat that you're sitting in at the table, whether it's the lender or the contractor or the wholesaler or the turnkey buyer or the lender on the back end or whoever the case, or the tenant that's even in the property, you know, if it's not good for if you try to charge $200 too much for rent, it's not going to be good either. You know what I mean? Yep. So like it ruins it for everybody at the table. So it's a very key core lesson to learn in not just real estate but in life.
Yeah. Yep.
And honestly, you have to look, if you're sitting at that table and there's 5 other people at that table, you want to make sure nobody at that table is trying to take too much, because at the end of the day, it's going to ruin it for you.
Yep, exactly.
Interesting.
That's exactly right.
That's interesting. Love those nuggets. Those some value bombs to drop on you guys before we let you go.
Yeah.
So
don't get us started, because me and Tom.
Yeah, Josh. Don't get me started, Josh.
We'll have John back on the show to do a negotiation podcast.
Oh boy.
Negotiation, because I know John's good at that.
I'd like to get John back on to explain like his current model, because he does wholesale, yes, but that's not his current model. Has a little bit more to do with seller finance, and he's refinancing his properties. And I really do like his model, and I think it's pretty neat. And he's actually in a unique market that he can actually do his model.
That's right.
Because a lot of markets you can't
do it
unless you can get to the price points where you're basically, your ARVs right now are like between 60 and 80. Or
I try not to go over 90.
Yeah, so like, because he's in that range and he's not like under 50, he can actually do his model. But there's not a lot of markets that are in, because basically most markets, like in Gary, Indiana, for instance, we're seeing as soon as houses hit 60, they went right to 100, like almost overnight. These houses went from 60 ARV to $100,000 ARV, because there's no difference in a price when they're getting a loan. And when the banks start lending, like, it just pushes those prices up really super fast from 60 to 100, because it's still cheaper than rent in most of those cases for them to buy at $100,000. So he is in one of those unique markets, and it's really cool to have that model that he has.
So that's the teaser for the next episode. We'll have
next John Morey episode. John Morey 3X.
I'm not complaining having John Morey back on the show. So
we'll have John Morey back at around
crazy.
episode 250.
Exactly. So, all right, John, man, we appreciate everything you shared for us today. But if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, so email address, maybe Facebook, phone number, whatever you want to leave, what's the best way for somebody to get a hold of you?
Okay, let me give you my cell phone number, and I don't mind. It's 256-469-3099. You can contact me there, or you could just, look me up on Facebook, John Morey, Morey, or you could go to my website, which is jpregroup.com, and you'll find me there.
Awesome stuff. And if you guys look for him on Facebook, it's just him giving a thumbs up like this, so you're not gonna miss it. So that's awesome. All right, John, man, we appreciate you.
John Morey.
You just texted him to make sure you had the right number
on the podcast.
It's right
Great stuff.
here.
Great stuff. So, John, thank you so much for being on the show, man. We appreciate everything that you shared so far.
Yes, thank you
so
much.
And we look forward to having you back again soon.
Hey, man, it's all about helping people. Thank you so much for having me.
Love it. And that is going to do it for today's episode. We appreciate you guys jumping on and joining us for the Good Success Podcast for this awesome episode of this podcast. And if you haven't already, make sure you have subscribed to the podcast. And then, or you could just go to the app stores on either your iPhone or your Android device and download the Good Success app. It's official. It's just go to the app store, search Good Success, and you'll find it there. It's 10 times easier to listen to the podcast that way. So just do it. It's 10 times easier. I didn't mean to get aggressive on you on that, but it's just so much easier, Tom.
It is.
But okay, so that's that. And then the Good Success Mastermind, May 14 through 18, is the next event in sunny Miami, Florida. We're excited about it. It's going to be an awesome event. And all you got to do is go to goodsuccess.com/mastermind, fill out the application there, and then you can jump on a phone call with Tom and you guys can talk about it and see if we can get you to that event. It's going to be great. And then the Community Go-Giver event, you'll see John Morey there. If you sign up and come, that there's only 80 seats available. So John already has his seat, but you need to grab yours too. So go to communitygogiver.com, pick up your tickets now. We're selling out at 80. We can't take any more than that, so make sure you do. That's going to do it for today's episode. We appreciate you jumping on and joining us today. Remember, be a conduit and not a bucket.
Work to have to give.
Catch you guys on the next one.